What's up, y'all? Welcome to a new video. I'm bringing you guys a 1 month long review of my time with the iPhone 17 Pro. And if you want to skip to any parts, I'll have the chapters in the description as well, or in the timeline of the video. Um, so I spent a little over a month, I think about 5 weeks now, with the iPhone 17 Pro. And I've got some thoughts. I'm going to try to make sure it's not a rehash of my original Pro video. So of my original review specifically that I made after about a week of use. So if you want real in-depth thoughts about very specific things, I think you should go check out this video. This one's going to be more about my time since then, any new thoughts I have, and kind of going more, I guess, talking about more about the specific things that have changed or that have gone better, worse, etc. Since that video. So first things first is get into design, durability, etc. Everyone kind of maligned this phone when it originally launched for the switch to aluminum because they figured it'd be less durable and it would show a lot more dents and things like that. And taking off this little moth thing right here, my phone is pretty much spotless. It doesn't have any dents whatsoever. I've only dropped it, really, like once. I know it's from about 1 foot, so that doesn't really count too much as a big drop. But other than that, it's in great condition. I know there was a ton of people who didn't like the orange color. Too bad. I love it. But this orange color has been a bit controversial lately because there have been some posts, mostly on Reddit, about certain phones, the orange ones, turning like a pinkish rose gold color after some time. As far as the reasoning why, uh, I've seen conflicting things. Some people mentioned it could have to do with during the anodization process to get the orange color to bond to the metal. Certain phones are supposed to be coated on top of the anodization to kind of stop things from like sun damage and other things causing it to kind of fade over time. I've also heard people saying it could have to do with cleaning your phone with certain types of like liquids that are like heavy alcohol based, like industrial cleaners, that might be causing that. Not sure which one is the correct one. Apple hasn't come out and said anything officially, but it's really small handful of cases, so I don't think it's anything that people should worry about realistically. Um, but I guess just to be on the safe side, don't clean your phone with any industrial cleaners. You know, water is good enough to wipe off most stains. Other than that, the camera plateau, I thought it would be kind of like a dust magnet. And for the most part, it's honestly been fine for me specifically. Dust does kind of gather around the camera ring specifically, but it hasn't been too big of an issue for me. And around this bottom edge of the camera plateau, I haven't noticed much or any dust collecting there. And I keep my phone caseless, and I have not cleaned it before this video, so you're getting it as raw as it would have looked if I wasn't shooting a video. Comfort in the hand. I, as you can tell, I have this little Moft tripod stand, and essentially, I guess to show you what it does, it's like a kickstand, so my phone can do that, or it can stand and kind of it's in this motion, so I can use it to record video. I put it in this orientation if I want to record video on my phone, and I kind of put it like on some books or something, or on a desk, and it's kind of like an easy to go tripod stand when I don't have my camera with me. But because I keep this on it pretty much all the time, this is more or less how I hold it 99% of the time. And I won't lie to you, it does feel a little heavy. But when I'm not using it, it's totally fine, totally comfortable in the hand. And overall, maybe it's kind of just because I've had this on, but the phone doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels pretty light. I think in my previous video, I had kind of talked about how it felt heavier than my previous one at the time, the iPhone 12, or sorry, the iPhone 13. And it is heavier than that phone, but I've gotten used to it, so it's not really much of a problem if I'm being honest. And when I have this on, it does feel like I'm carrying a brick. Also, I really wouldn't recommend buying this thing, even though I showed you all the features and everything it does. I don't know if you can tell. Try to get as close as I can to the camera. It's kind of fraying on the side. You can see some of the kind of like see that little bit of fabric that's kind of coming off. And I've only had it for a month at most, because I've only had the phone for like 5 weeks. So this thing has been with me for 3 to 4 weeks, and it's already fraying and things like that. So there are other like foldable MagSafe tripods on the market. Get ones that are made out of like a metal or something like that. They might be a little heavier, so it might not be something you keep on your phone all the time, but something you kind of carry with you just in case. Uh, but I'll probably just keep this one on until it really starts to look pretty bad. Then I'll switch it out. The display though, so the display has been phenomenal for me. Specifically the fact that the brightness levels. So outdoor, when I've got it cranked to max brightness, perfectly fine. I can see outside. I'm not having any troubles with looking at outdoor use. Also, when I'm in bed, right about to go to sleep, like I mentioned in the previous video, one of the big things that I was excited about was actually the minimum brightness. The fact that it can drop down to 1 nit. That's huge for me because I like to use my phone in bed. Again, no, I shouldn't, but that's a whole nother problem that I'll work on at some point. And so the fact that it can drop the brightness down is pretty great. Another thing that I did want to talk about though is I don't know if you can tell on camera. I'm gonna try my best to make it so it's on there. Uh, when the phone turns on from the power button and it's on like the always on display, there's kind of like a bit of a delay in the brightness of the kind of background coming in. It's like it chugs and the brightness like going through notches. I'm not sure if that's an iOS 26 bug or maybe just a bug specifically specific to my phone. But figured I'd mention it regardless. The anti-reflective coating that Apple has, I'm gonna try to see if I can catch a bit of glare on there. Yep, there we go. Like I mentioned, it's really not that great. It's better than what we used to have, but like I mentioned in the previous video, not better than anything Samsung's doing right now. So I would love if they could improve that, honestly. Ceramic Shield 2. My phone doesn't have any scratches, like at all. So that's actually been fantastic. I don't, keep my phone in the same pocket as my keys or anything like that. So I really wouldn't have expected to get any scratches, at least not so soon. But it has none. So that's great for now. We'll see by the time a year from now has passed, if that'll change. I'll try to maybe throw a comment or something in there once some time has passed if I notice anything on that front. Performance though, performance has been stellar. So I've pretty much had no issue running any app smoothly. Like I mentioned, all my games that I mentioned in the original review all run still smooth to this day. Nothing too much has changed on that front. Thermally though, it's been pretty rock solid. I've only really noticed it get warm, not really hot at all, just warm from like extended recording or like using the camera a lot. And also when I'm doing like heavy multitasking, like I'm on FaceTime, maybe I've got Google Maps open or something like that, or I'm recording a video and I'll switch to a different app, etc. Like I'm doing a lot of things at the same time, and only then it'll start to feel warm, and then I'll feel the kind of entire phone get warm. So it's not like a specific hotspot, which I think was a problem with previous phones, where it would get hot in a specific part of the phone, but it kind of just the vapor chamber does a good job at spreading the heat all across the device. So it's working, at least at spreading the heat, but it's not a perfect solution. The phone isn't cool at all times, but for I'd say 90% of my usage, it's been totally fine. And then I guess one quick thing about performance specifically. Again, I don't know if this has to do with iOS 26, but actually today, the day I'm shooting this video, it crashed for the first time ever. Hard crash. I was watching a video, the audio cut out, screen went blank. I thought my phone like battery had died. I wasn't paying attention to the battery percentage, but then it went black, and then the Apple logo popped back up, and I was like, oh wow, it crashed. And so it restarted, and then it's been totally fine since then. So that only happened once. Could be an iOS 26 bug, but it's only been one time in the entire month I've had it. It could also have been maybe a bug to do with the app I was running. I was watching anime on Crunchyroll, so don't know if that had anything to do with it, but something I figured you guys should know. And then I also mentioned the lock screen brightness chugging thing. So again, could be an iOS 26 thing, but just if you guys are experiencing it as well, let me know. Maybe this is a thing, and maybe we can kind of try our best to let Apple know, so that they can kind of get this fixed in the next software update. But all of those things, what does that do to battery? So I pretty much only charge this phone to 80% daily. At first, I wasn't really paying attention to how much I charged it, but I realized, kind of not intentionally, I would plug my phone in, and by the time I wanted to go somewhere or I wanted to use my phone and do something else, it would be around 80%, and I would just take it and go on with my day. And normally, 80% was not enough to get me through a day. 80% on my previous phone I would have been dead. What, like 3/4 of the day, and would have had to plug in. But I've gone easily 6 to 8 hours of screen on time. It does drop a little bit on that when I'm doing like heavy usage, so it's closer to that 5 hour mark. But other than that, it's been fantastic. I've ended every day with around 10 to 20% on average. And remember, that's only charging to 80%. Um, I'm not like force feeding myself to stay around that 80% mark. Like I know in the settings for the battery, you can actually set it so the iOS would only charge to 80%. I'm not doing that. I'm just kind of checking the battery once I've plugged it in after some time. And if it's roughly in that range, then I'll unplug it and take it with me. But sometimes I forget. It goes up to 100%. It is what it is. I'm not too worried about battery longevity at this point. And on that note, 40-watt charging has been fantastic. I'm the person who plugs my phone in. I don't really use wireless charging because it's so inefficient. It heats your phone up too much, and it's slow. If you're a wireless charging person, it did go up to 25 watts. So for you guys, that's great. But for me, 40-watt charging wired is the way to go. And even though the battery life has been great, I think there's definitely still some room for Apple to optimize iOS 26 a bit further, so that maybe we could get even better battery life. And that's just off the Pro. I know the Pro Max is even better. So maybe with a 26.2.3, we'll have even better battery life. And I'll come back and I'll tell you guys that I'm getting 10 hours of screen on time. So the cameras. There isn't too much that I haven't said already on the cameras, but I guess the biggest things that I've noticed for me specifically has been the front-facing camera has been a game changer. I'm not the type of guy who takes selfies all the time, but just having a higher quality front-facing camera that does the portraits and then can zoom out and do the horizontal without having to move your phone around side to side is so useful. When I'm on FaceTime calls, things like that. Sometimes I'm on FaceTime calls and I have family with me, and just getting them all in frame is so much easier, that kind of thing. I've been told a couple times that my calls seem to look better. Um, that's a combination of probably cameras and also better Wi-Fi reception, because can't tell which is which, but I'll take that compliment regardless. But that's kind of it on the front-facing side. The rear cameras have been pretty great. I can't lie. The skin tones, like I mentioned in the previous review, are definitely better. They're a lot more realistic, especially darker skin tones like myself. Even people who are darker than me, I've noticed that they're a lot more accurate and don't look as washed out as they did previously. Images are sharp. The colors pop, but they don't look like they're overdone. They don't look like they have like the vivid setting turned on your display, that kind of thing, where it doesn't look realistic. It's just too popping, like kind of like it's animated or something like that. I'm not the biggest portrait mode user, but from what I have used, it's done a better job at cutting out the subject so that clothes or hair isn't blurred out when it's not supposed to be. In the original video, I had initially said the telephoto really wasn't as good as Apple had touted it to be. Complete 180 on that. Apple does, market their things a bit more than they tend to be, but the telephoto has been pretty big change for me. I pretty much did use the telephotos on previous cameras or previous phones per se, just because the fact that it wasn't the same quality as the primary camera just made me want to just walk closer to my subject and just take the photo with the primary camera. But the fact that now it's a 48 megapixel sensor, it's a lot sharper. Even though they dropped it from 5 to 4x, it's so useful. I'm using the 4x camera all the time. I don't actually go above that. I pretty much only need 4x. There hasn't been, at least yet, one time really where I felt the need to go to anything above 4x. So It's been pretty great on that front. It's not all rainbows and sunshine though. There still has been a problem where at night, when you're shooting with like lights in the frame, whether it's like ceiling lights or like car lights, whatever, there's a ton of glare that shows in the camera, and like more than you'd expect from a camera. It's kind of known to be a kind of an iPhone problem. Uh, Again, I'm not sure if this is something Apple can fix with software. Hopefully they can, but it seems like a hardware limitation. Um, but if this is something they can fix, I would love if they could take care of that, just because other than that, the nighttime photography has been pretty solid. I've enjoyed it a lot. And that's pretty much my biggest problem with the camera as of yet. And then again, everything I've just said also applies to the video. But I think that kind of takes care of my feelings on the iPhone 17 Pro. Is there anything that's missing though? Yes. So first things first, what I would love to see is reverse wireless charging. I know I just previously said that I'm not a big wireless charging guy, but reverse wireless charging would be super cool to charge the AirPods Pro 3s on them. I don't know how they'd make it work with like Apple Watches. That might be a little too much, but really it's just charging AirPods I think would be the biggest thing. Because there are a lot of times where I'll just forget that I didn't charge my AirPods and go to the gym and it's dead. And it'll totally ruin my workout. And like at that point, it's hard for me to even stay there at the gym when I can't listen to music and things like that. So it'd be great if I could just throw them on the back of my phone for like 5-10 minutes and get enough juice for like one gym session. So that'd be really cool. Also, I'd love a smaller notch. It's gigantic and it's been pretty big for a while. So the next, iPhone 18, whatever, if they could make that smaller, whether it's using under display cameras, which I know do sacrifice quality, so or whether it's just shrinking the Face ID sensor suite, that'd be fantastic. Another thing would be if they actually made the camera control button another just action button, or remove it altogether, whichever one they'd prefer. Because I'm being honest, the camera control button is pretty much a open camera button. And there really is no need for that when I can just unlock the phone and swipe to the right or swipe to the left actually, and the camera opens. So if they can make that another action button, that'd be pretty cool. Another thing that'd be cool would be to integrate a fingerprint sensor either under display or the power button. Face ID is great, but sometimes when my phone's in my pocket, it'd be nice to kind of just lift my phone out and turn it in, and by the time I click the power button, as I'm, taking it out of my pocket, it's already unlocked. That'd be great. And I know they can do it because they already have a power button fingerprint sensor on the iPad. So I'd be great if they could integrate that into the phones, because if you could have Face ID or fingerprint or both, you can use one or the other whenever the situation works out for it. And then last but not least, colors. I love that they did orange for the Pro phones, but I don't know why they felt like they had to remove black. Like they couldn't just have more colors; they had to remove one. So they should reintroduce a black phone for the Pros. I guess that'd have to be a next year thing. And then also make them cooler. I love the orange, but the regular iPhone 17 gets all these cool colors. I wish they would just bring that to the Pro line. They can keep their black grays for professionals, but also let those of us who want those Pro features but want a pop of color have a decision. But I think that kind of wraps up all the things about the iPhone 17 Pro. Overall, I've been really enjoying my time with it. It's probably been the most I've enjoyed using an iPhone in a long time. A combination of the improved camera, the brighter display, the tons of power, the cooling that it's been given, the new industrial design, everything about that just kind of all together has been a pretty good experience. But iOS 26, I think, still holds it back. There's definitely some improvements that Apple needs to make with future iOS releases to really take advantage of the hardware that they have. And also, if I'm being totally honest, as much as I love this phone, I still would not recommend it to like 95% of people. Get the regular iPhone 17. You'll save, like $300, and you'll get like 85% of the experience. And for most people, those extra features, like the extra camera, the Pro shooting features, and just the little things here and there aren't important. You'll be totally fine with just a regular iPhone 17. So that's what I'd recommend. But again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know down in the comment section below what's your experience been with the iPhone 17 Pro. If you don't have one, did this video help you make a purchasing decision, or there's something else you'd like to know? And so give me other ideas if you'd like to see more content around the iPhone 17 Pro, or just ideas for videos in general that you guys would like to see. Other than that, see you guys later. Peace.